Hi, you guys. How is everybody doing today? We are in for day 3 of the AMARA Mini Map challenge and training. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited that you guys are here. And we are going to just kind of dive right in and get going. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brooke, and I'm the creator of the AMARA Map online course collective, and I'm also a shamanic practitioner as well as a sound and frequency alchemist. And I do one-on-one sessions, and then I have this online course that I'm sharing with you today. And we're in the middle of a 5-day challenge, you guys. If you have not jumped on yet, there are 2 other great days, like tons of information, tons of value for you to just have for free, because I want to share and spread healing. And so this is a great way to do it. I wanted to give a big thank you to everybody who's participated in the challenge so far. All that you have to do to participate is to take a screenshot sometime during this and just add what your favorite takeaway from this training is and share it online with your people to kind of help you internalize what it is that was the most helpful for you, and then kind of spread and share that this training is going on. It's a whole bunch of value for free for 5 days. And there's also a chance to win up to 50% off of the AMARA Map. It's this 12-week program that I have that's a lifetime membership that is beginning September 7th. And we are getting really excited for that. So you can do a challenge every single time you do a screenshot. You get entered in another time for the giveaway. You guys, hold on a second. Look at this. This is my cat. He was hiding in here, so I'm just gonna let him out the door. I'll be right back. Okay, there you go. You guys, cats are sneaky. Cats are sneaky. Okay, now we're ready. All right, so today we are going to be jumping in to talk about 2 of my very favorite topics, which are self-love and forgiveness. And both of these topics are really near and dear to my heart. I'm going to be doing kind of a bunch of stories today, and you'll get to know me a little bit better, and we can kind of chat. And by the end of this training, I hope that I'm going to give you an alchemization piece of homework-ish for tonight, or whenever you watch this training, if you're watching in the future. This is an invitation for you to step in, to alchemize, to shift and change a little bit of what's been going on and how you're holding this inside your body. This is the whole point of the AMARA Map, is to help you get unstuck, to help you release things from your body that are hurting you, that are in your energetic field, and they show up as disease, as stress, as anxiety, as not being able to sleep, as all sorts of body ailments, all sorts of mental chatter that we get going on, right? Especially when we're talking about self-love. So today, my journey with self-love is really funny, because I thought, to really get to deep self-love, you have to have forgiven yourself and others. But I thought, so my journey with self-love goes self-love, forgiveness, and then back to self-love, because I didn't get it the first time, which is how healing goes a lot of the time. So there's nothing wrong with it. It was just a new level of awareness for me. So I thought that I loved myself. I have like cat hair, you guys. Okay, I thought that I loved myself for a long time. I really did. I thought, I try to be like a nice person. I try to be a good person. I try to be, a good family member, a good daughter, a good friend, a good partner, all that. And so I thought that I kind of loved myself. I think I used to think that self-love was about self-care, maybe. Like I'm doing this thing for myself. And so because I'm doing this thing, or taking, a bubble bath. Actually, I don't even do bubble baths. I would do like an Epsom salt bath with candles, and carving out some time for myself, or maybe going to yoga. That I definitely would have considered like self-love for me, which it is. It's a layer. But what self-love really is about is a deep inner knowing that you are inherently worthy of love, and you can create that love from inside yourself. And that I didn't get until much later. So the first time that I was working on self-love, I had recognized that I had kind of a bunch of, thank you, kind of a bunch of body issues in my head, and I decided that I wanted to really work on that for a period of time. I wanted to give myself a month or two to kind of really dive into my own thoughts about myself. Another thing I've really learned about self-love is that it very much has to do with your ability to be the same on the inside and the outside, and having kind of a transparency available to you that you're not a completely different person around other people as you are just in your head and by yourself, and not in a way where you have to divulge everything about you or your story or your life to everybody, but just in a way where you're in congruence, in the shamanic terms that we talk about it as being in aini, in right relationship and balance with yourself. And so I really was trying to work on that. So I found this book that I highly recommend. It is called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, and it's by a man named Naval Ravikant. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's fantastic. He actually wrote it and then did a rewrite of it, or another edition of it years later when he had some new insights, which I think is really cool because that's how it goes. We learn and then we layer new things on top of it as we get more knowledge, as we gain more awareness. So I'm going to share a couple things from his book that I took in and did. I go into this a little bit deeper in the course, but I'm going to give you a couple high-level things for this like kind of mini training. So one of the things that I decided to do that he really recommends was to spend some time each day for a period of time. I think I did 30 days or so, where every single day I would go and stand in front of the mirror and I would look at myself. I got to get both Instagram and Facebook. I would get really close to the mirror and I would look at myself, and I was supposed to set a timer, which I did, for 5 minutes, you guys, 5 minutes in a row. And I would say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself, over and over and over and over. And this may seem like it is over. It was just like too much, but, or why would you need to do that? Right. But I cannot tell you how impactful that one thing was for me. First of all, I think because I'm such a big believer in vibration, and again, why we're doing Sound Bath on Sunday, I hope you guys all show up. It's going to be great. One of the reasons I really love vibration and frequency is because of the effect that it has on your body and your mind and your soul. And to be able to say that again and again and again, the words I love you carry a very healing frequency that's been proven again and again scientifically. And so just saying it to yourself, hearing you say the words to yourself is like the highest, it even increases the effectiveness of just the words, just because you're saying it to you, the frequency of your own voice, because it carries so much more weight to you. So I would say that over and over. And it was so interesting because at some of the time I would be looking at myself and I'd be like, yeah, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And I'd be like, okay, yeah. But then some of the time I would be looking at myself and I would just begin to cry. Like, wow, I've been through a lot of things. Or like, oh, I started looking at my body differently. And instead of being so critical, I would look at it and be like, wow, like this body housed 2 beautiful babies, or look at the scars from this thing, or even like the inner scars, like the inner things, the things that I've experienced in my life, and being able to look at myself, but like see the real me, like the soul me. And we talk about that a lot in the AMARA Map, being able to understand and learn who your unique soul frequency is and bringing you into alignment with that. And that's what I began to see that as I was doing that exercise of saying, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, and looking in the mirror. So that piece was really profound for me. It was hard. It was an interesting practice, and I made myself do it before, like after my workout, before I put on any makeup, which was a really good practice for me because I have had a hard time coming into loving myself just completely with fresh face. And so that was a really good practice for me to sit with myself and really love myself that way. So I did that that was one of the pieces that was really influential. There's several other things that that I did during that time that I'm gonna kind of skip through for now. But the other one I want to touch on today was that I was supposed to write a letter of forgiveness to myself. So it's interesting because at this period of time, the first time when I was working with self-love, and like a big deep dive, I was like, it was one of the main, there's kind of like 4 things you're supposed to do from that book, and it was one of the main things. And I think I did it, but it did not really make much of an impact. Obviously, I can't remember if I totally did it. And I think it was just kind of like, I forgave myself for this. Like, yeah, I did. But it didn't have any kind of impact. It didn't even feel like it was hard to do because maybe I didn't do it. But then later, so it was interesting. So then fast forward years from there, and I was doing a big deep dive on forgiveness. And this was pretty far into my healing journey. I've worked with forgiveness in many different ways, which I teach about in the AMARA Map. And I had worked with it as a practice for years and years, just like my yoga. I just continue to try to be forgiving again and again. And sometimes I was able to do it and sometimes I wasn't. And I just kind of did it by the day. Like, okay, Brooke, you have a new opportunity to forgive. And then I would try again the next day if I didn't like get it right, if I couldn't for whatever reason. And it was just like with a few different situations that I was kind of stuck on. But then as I got further and further into my own healing journey, I recognized that I was blocking myself from so much of the joy and happiness of life and so much of being able to clear my energetic field to be able to manifest and to just release old trauma. And I was blocking it because I was unable to get to this forgiveness piece. And I really wanted to be able to do it, but I just couldn't get there. There were a few different handful of things that I was just kind of stuck on. So I began doing this beautiful Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono that I highly recommend, has been very life-changing for me. And it's essentially 4 sentences, and you say them over and over and over and over again. So you say, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And those 4 sentences, if you can repeat them and begin to really feel into your heart when you're saying them. And it's a really cool practice to do for anyone. So every morning for, I don't even know how long I did, a period of time, several months, I would get up at 5 a.m. and I would go and sit and I would make my coffee in the morning and I would have all my blankets because it's chilly and I would do my meditation and I would go to my heart center and I would say those words over and over and over. And I would imagine a person or a situation that I was having a hard time forgiving, and I would just send it from my heart to that person. I would imagine the person or the situation, and I would just write from my heart space, and I would send it with love and kind of detaching, trying to just let it be what it is. And those sentences, like you're taking accountability, you're apologizing, you're sending gratitude, you're sending love, like it's beautiful. It's an incredible practice. So I would do that over and over and over and over again for these handful of people and situations. And it was an incredible thing. It really lifted and changed and shifted the way I was feeling about the situations. It was incredible. So I got to the point where I was able to kind of move through that with mostly everything except for one situation. One situation I couldn't get to the forgiveness piece. And I knew that I knew I couldn't get it. And I had been trying actively for a long time. I'd read a bunch of books, I'd listened to podcasts, I did the more of the Ho'oponopono and more of digging deep and writing it out, and I just couldn't get there. And eventually I began to have this kind of realization in another, not literally in another life, but in years ago. I used to write a lot, and I have ghostwritten books and written a few books of my own and spent time doing that. So I've done a lot of thinking about stories and how to get a character to do a certain thing. And in the arc of someone's story, there always has to be something to kind of push them and move the story forward. So I began kind of looking at my life from that perspective, kind of like a higher up perspective, which is helpful if you're trying to work on this forgiveness stuff, because sometimes if you're down in here, you've got all the feelings involved and all the like anger or hurt or betrayal or whatever it is. And it's hard to work through it and see it from a clear vantage point. So coming up above the situation was helpful. So I was looking at it from this different perspective of like, okay, here's like, if this is Brooke and this is where I start my journey in life, and then by the end of my life, I need to get over here. And the person that I am when I began was, you know, kind of a pretty judgmental, very super religious, kind of probably thought I was better than everybody sort of mentality without really knowing that that's what I was doing. I was trying to just be a good person, but I think I was pretty judgy, so sorry about that to anybody from before. But anyways, I started thinking about how am I going to get that girl to this way over here to wherever I end up in my journey, where hopefully I'm much more open-minded and much more loving and accepting, and I do, you know, I am here helping people. Like, how am I going to get to this place where I've been through enough things to be doing what I'm doing? And as I thought about that, I started thinking about that idea of like, well, I need someone in my story to push me to be this, to become this version of me. And that was a way I could get there, to not in a way that's like, oh, what the situation was okay, but in a way, or like that it was justified or anything like that, but in a way of like coming to an understanding to where I could get to the bridge to find the forgiveness. So I began thinking about that. And I had molded over a little bit, and I was thinking about, you know, maybe soul contracts, and we have these different things to fulfill. And whether you believe that or not, it was something I was kind of working with as I was trying to get to where I wanted to be with it. And eventually I continued kind of thinking of that, but I knew I was still blocking myself, and I was really, really trying. So it began kind of getting frustrated that I was actively trying to let something go, and I couldn't figure out how to release it. And I have a couple different coaches, and one of my coaches was doing a breathwork ceremony. And it was just going to be online, and I've done breathwork before, and I've had really cool experiences with it, but this particular one was profound. It was life-changing. And it's also why I fell so deeply in love with breathwork, and why I'm going to talk about it and do a bit of breath work as much as I can figure out how to do, so you guys can hear me tomorrow. So look forward to that. But in this breath work, I was releasing a lot. The holotropic breath work gets you to a place that you can, it's releasing your body in a way that I think that only breath work and possibly plant medicine can get you to. My personal opinion on that. It is able to touch places that you can't access. And it was a very amazing experience. And in this experience, I was wanting to release, and I imagined, or in my mind's eye, I saw kind of my highest self, the version of me that's infinite, and that what I think of as my unique soul frequency. And when I see her in my meditations, because I'm super visual, she always looks like a woman, like with long hair, and she's just stars. She's just a shadow with a whole bunch of stars in her. And when I work with her, or she comes to teach me stuff in my meditations, I am able to interact with her, and she kind of tells me stuff. So in this one particular one, I was laying on the ground, I was doing breath work, and if you've ever experienced deep breath work before, like the holotropic, you can get this thing called tetany, where your hands kind of lobster claw in. It's just the oxygen in your blood and everything that's happening in your body, and it's really common. But I was kind of having that thing where, you know, I'm breathing, and my body gets really tingly. So I had the tingles, and in my mind's eye, she came up to me and she said, "Okay, I understand that you really want to get to this forgiveness piece, and if you do, I need you to understand that once you do this, it can never be undone. do you still want to do it? And I remember being like, yeah, I want to do it. I mean, I've been doing this for years. Like, I've been actively trying to let this go for a long time. So I said, yes, I do. I want to let that go. I want to. And then it was so interesting because immediately after that, I was pulled kind of up above, almost like looking down at myself, my body. And I was with the person that I had been working to forgive. And it was like we were standing next to each other, looking down. And this person said, do you think she's going to get it? And I said, I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. I hope she'll get it. Like, as if this person I've been working to forgive and I were on the same team, cheering from up above for me, who's down there doing breath work, cheering for me. And like, together, like, oh, come on, you can do it. You can get it, Brooke. You can get it. And that feeling of like, oh, this person in their healed state would never have been in that wasn't the situation that they would have created. And it felt peaceful. It felt like I didn't need to be so angry anymore, or mad, or betrayed, or hurt, or all the feelings I'd been feeling, that I could truly let it go. And then I was back down in my body, and she asked me again, do you want to do this, because you cannot undo it once you do it? And I said yes again. And then it was almost like she just merged into me. She just merged with me. And I don't know how to explain it other than it was released from me. It was taken from me. And I'd heard that said before of other people saying stuff like that. And I was always like, well, that'll never happen to me. Like, I didn't really feel like that could be possible for me. And then, you guys, it was. It was. And it was truly an incredible gift, an amazing experience that forever changed my life. I was able to get to a place to let that go with this person that I didn't think I would ever get there. Even when I think about it now, I'm just like, gosh, that was so cool. I can't believe that happened, and I'm so grateful that it did. So the interesting thing was, after I was able to let that peace become integrated in me and truly forgive, it brought me right back to me again. This is where the second time of me working to forgive myself came in. It was like this new level of understanding of what it truly means to forgive myself, to get to the self-love piece. So as I kind of sunk down into that, I had to go pretty deep within myself, and I found and uncovered a lot more sadness and shame and all that kind of stuff that you hold inside of you. And I found this other level of it within me that I had never gotten to before. Because that forgiveness piece it comes before the deeper piece of forgiving yourself for everything. And then that piece takes you to the self-love that's the kind that you want to get to. That self-love that no one can take away from you because you earned it. Because you were able to go down layer by layer by layer and find it and pull it out. And then it's so deeply rooted in you that you will never, ever, it can't be undone. You will always have it. You will always know. No one can take that away from you because it's so deeply rooted in you. And that was a really, really cool piece to be able to get to. So once I got there, I went back to that book again, re-listened. And then if you didn't hear from the beginning, it's called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It by Naval Ravikant. And it was a totally life-changing book for me. So I went back to the step that I sort of skipped the first time, which is also what I'm suggesting to you today as your alchemy piece. For this training, I invite you, with love, to write yourself a letter of forgiveness. I forgive myself for ... And then stream of consciousness, right? Just write and write and write and write and write. And whatever that is for you, whatever it is that feels, you'll find stuff that you didn't know is there. That's the way that it works when you're just kind of writing stuff out. and allow yourself, kind of carve out some time for yourself, spend some time, just be alone and be able to get to that place and carve it out. And then spend time, write it out. Then what I want you to do is fold it all up, and in some very safe way, I want you to burn the letter. And the reason I suggest that is because fire is a great alchemical changer. It's a fast it transmutes energy that is stuck. And so by doing that, by taking the time out to write this letter to yourself and really think about and feel into what that means for you, and then take the time to burn the letter, it will release things from you that are being held in your subconscious, like we talked about yesterday, that are being held there. And as you're able to get to that piece of that deep love and deep self-forgiveness that takes you to the deepest kind of love that you can have for yourself, everything in your life will change. Everything. It's the crux. It's the key thing. It's the number one thing that will change your life, is learning to love yourself in a deep way, like the kind I'm talking about. It will change your life. It's the number one thing. Promise. So take some time, you guys. That's part of this challenge, is to help you, to give you tools to really be in there and decide that you're going to do what it takes to change your life. You can do it. And you can do it fast. So that's the invitation for today, is to do this letter to yourself of what you forgive yourself for, and alchemize it by burning the letter in some safe way. And I hope that I get to hear your stories about that. If you're participating in the challenge for today, if you didn't hear at the very beginning, all you have to do to participate is to screenshot this training, write something on it, or give your favorite takeaway or tip, or that aha moment where you're like, oh, that's cool, I love that, and then just share it, tag me and share it, so that we can kind of spread the awareness of this healing and of these free trainings. 5 days in a row, you guys. We're on day 3. We still have 2 more days. Tomorrow will be breathwork, and Sunday will be a sound bath. So I'm really excited to share those with you. If you are wanting to learn more about the AMARA map and you do this challenge, you can get up to 50% off of registration, which is going to be so amazing that you have this opportunity. There's a few different ways. There's this challenge where there's the grand prize, and then there's 2 other pieces. And then I'm also offering scholarships for 2 different types of interns. And all of that's on my website. You can go and check that out if you just go to healwithbrooke.com/mini/scholarship. Nope, map/scholarship. You can go and find out all about that, or it's in my link tree. You can go and check it out there. So there's a lot of different ways to be able to get into this program. I really wanted it to be very readily accessible to people for their healing journey. That's what it's all about, and I'm wanting to gift things in that way, so you can participate in the challenge, or there's the scholarships. So go ahead and take advantage of that. For this, it's a lifetime membership. It's a 12-week program, begins September 7th. And we are going to dive in and do weekly coaching calls where I do a somatic practice, so like the breath work that I was just talking about, or sound bowls, or shamanic journeying, or guided meditations every single week. And then you guys get to come on and receive coaching and diving in from what's going on that week. The modules, I have a whole bunch of modules there. I think there's about 18 different modules for you to view that you get immediate access to when you go into the course. And then we have a Facebook soul family community that we get to participate in and share with each other what we're going through, or share our wins. And just, it's so important when you are going through a healing journey of any sorts to have community. And so I just want to invite everybody in. I really want to make it accessible for everybody. I'm really excited to do this incredibly powerful, transformative course with you that I developed from all of my own healing journey, from everything that I've used and seen work with my one-on-one clients, and just all of my own knowledge that I have acquired and come upon. So I'm doing these free trainings as a gift to you, and as to kind of be able to share with you what it's like to be around me. You can kind of see my teaching style, see if you think we'll vibe, and I hope that it feels really inviting for you. I love being able to help people, and that's why I'm here. So share it, screenshots, do your takeaway, and then just let other people know about this. The winners will be announced. There will be 3 winners announced on Monday, and the scholarship applications are due Monday night, and those winners will be announced on Tuesday. So, and then the registration is open until the 31st. I think that's all the information, you guys. And there's more information in the previous 2 if you want to go check those out. And there will be 2 more tomorrow and Sunday. You can go and sign up from the link in my bio to get into the mini map insiders and be able to receive all the information, the PDF from before, and any other handouts I give out. And just get the schedule for when I'm coming on tomorrow. But I always tell it in the live, so I will tell you guys that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, I will be back on to do breathwork. And breathwork is, as you can tell from my story earlier, is near and dear to my heart. So I'm excited to share that with you. All right, you guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for dropping in to learn about self-love and forgiveness. I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know how the alchemy goes for you, the invitation to write yourself a letter of, I forgive myself for ... Let me know how it goes. I love you. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.